start like their own like
Is
bar.
this
Yeah.
your audio test?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I'm just not. This is part of it.
Okay.
So it's the episode of Family Guy where all the women come and they start going to the clam, and so all the guys start their own clubhouse, and then obviously they're just talking about
Yeah.
like sex, and they're like, no, let's talk about something different than sex, and they were like, all right, would you rather start a small business with the guy who plays Randy on My Name is Earl or some other like funny option? And then like for like 2 minutes they're just sitting there discussing like, well, does he have an idea? Does he have any capital? And stuff like that. It just goes on for so long, and then Joe's like, this is stupid. I want to talk about vaginas. Anyways, welcome back to Owls Only, an Adult Swim podcast. I'm your host, Bryce Hope. I don't have to say every word twice.
And I'm Alex. I'm the co-host this episode.
Life sucks. There's your lesson. Go enjoy it. So, both of those are McGurk quotes.
McGurk's funny.
So we're talking about Home Movie Season 1 because this is the start of our Loren Bouchard miniseries that we're going to be doing throughout the month of May to lead up to the 1-year anniversary of the Bob's Burgers movie.
Yeah. We're doing this Sunday, right?
Oh, dropping this. Yeah.
Okay. It'll be every Sunday
Yes.
in May.
Because what we did for a while was I recorded a lot of episodes and I kept them banked and would release them at like random times, which is why last week we released the Robot Chicken Walking Dead episode we recorded in like February.
Yeah.
So there's like February discourse on it.
We were waiting for both of us to settle in like after college and stuff.
Yeah, but now we're on a bit more of a regular schedule, at least for this month. We're going to be recording them pretty much the week they come out,
Yeah.
I think. But
if not within like 10 days.
yeah. But so this is, I've wanted this for a while because I think that the Bob's Burgers movie was the closest thing to like an actual Adult Swim like movie representation in theaters for like a long time, because the Loren Bouchard like series of shows, it goes back literally to like the first moment of Adult Swim, because Home Movies is created by him and Brandon Small, who went on to do Metalocalypse, obviously. And so this was literally the first thing they ever broadcast on Adult Swim. Like 10 o'clock, September 2nd, 2001 is like the director's cut episode where they're fighting about is it Franz Kafka?
Yes.
Yes, the Franz Kafka. I can't think of it without like singing it in my head.
Kafka-esque.
Yeah, it's like the two half-hour shows that started in 1999 and got canceled on Adult Swim have like iconic jokes about Kafka.
Yeah, that's true actually.
Because you have this, and then you have the no meat touching, ma'am, from Mission Hill with the with the Kafka-esque cartoon. But so this show has a very
Did Adult Swim used to start at 10?
I think it used to start at 11.
God damn. It's 8 now, right?
It is. This is a big thing because today is May 1st. So starting tonight, the day we're recording this is May 1st. So starting tonight at 7 is they're starting Adult Swim now an hour earlier at 7.
And that's like permanent.
That's permanent,
For the-
at least for now.
Nice.
Because kids don't watch cable anymore. And
It's true. Kids watch fucking YouTube.
yes, kids don't watch cable anymore, and so
Ooh, that's cool.
yeah, so what they're doing is they're kind of adding more like classic shows to like the actual Cartoon Network lineup, and then they're also expanding Adult Swim and doing things like My Adventures with Superman and Unicorn Warriors Eternal and
That's
stuff like
actually,
that.
Like a decently big shakeup then. I didn't realize they were
Yeah.
doing stuff to Cartoon Network too.
It's pretty huge, but like because both Unicorn and Superman were both sold as Cartoon Network shows.
I knew that.
And they both made the move to Adult Swim, which I'm honestly like happy for, because Superman is just gonna be like a workplace comedy about like Clark Kent and Lois Lane, and like that is perfect for Adult Swim. I've always been a proponent, because Cartoon Network gets to have like all these DC shows. I've always said that Adult Swim should be able to have like adult animated DC shows, and they showed Harley Quinn on like a Toonami marathon once, but that's pretty much it. Besides like the Batman marathons they do, where they marathon like those fucking animated Batman movies, and they make 30 of a year, but they really do.
Oh yeah.
Like there's like a whole genre where they just adapt like every Batman story. Not like there's no continuity to it or anything. It's just like they're just constantly making those animated movies.
It's cool too, because I know for a little bit, at least, we were somewhat worried that Adult Swim was going to have some troubles, as cable dies and as all the shakeups with Warner go.
Like Warner Brothers Discovery.
Yeah. Like I know this is more like a couple months ago, but we were I know Bryce, you and I were talking a lot about how if like what the fuck happens
Yeah.
to Adult Swim,
and it looks,
after Rick and Morty, like after Justin Roiland, you know.
yeah, and it looks like this is what happens because there's a lot of interesting stuff coming out this year. But
They're getting more. I don't want to say creative. Everything's creative. They're getting more like.
I would say they're getting less creative and more. I think they're making more actual TV shows.
Yeah, but it'll stick around.
Yes,
that means
yes.
That's good.
So we're talking about home movies. The show has a very interesting history because it's animated in Squiggle Vision. Which, what did you think of the Squiggle Vision?
I thought like something was wrong.
a lot of people hate it. Do you hate it?
I don't hate it. I get the appeal. Like, were they trying to replicate like what? Well, they didn't even need to replicate what a VHS looked like in 1999.
This is just the animation
just
style.
A thing. Oh, well then, I mean, in that case, I'm indifferent on it. Like, if it came out today, I would have read it as them trying to like emulate
a VHS
like a VHS
style
thing.
So Squiggle Vision was invented by Tom Snyder, who was like an elementary school teacher who in the late 90s invented Squiggle Vision as part of like this educational computer programs he was making. And which is what Soup to Nuts, the production company, started as. And they start doing Dr. Katz Professional Therapist for Comedy Central in the 90s. Do you know what that is?
No, I've never even heard of that.
That was a huge, like before South Park, that was Comedy Central's like flagship show.
Oh, cool.
And it's essentially this.
I've never heard of it.
Really, it's a huge.
What was it called again?
Dr. Katz Professional Therapist.
No, never heard of it.
Some of our friends actually used to discover it on YouTube and like send me links to it. I'm like, yeah, I know what this is, but
never heard of that. Like I haven't even heard like older people I know talk about that. That's crazy.
Yeah. So Dr. Katz, the format was you know the Melissa's dad in the show.
Yes.
That's Jonathan Katz. Jonathan Katz plays him, and he played Dr. Katz, who is a professional therapist.
Okay.
And it was basically like animated stand-up. They have like segments with Dr. Katz and his son, who was played by H. John Benjamin, and then his like receptionist that was played by Laura Silverman, and then like all the other segments would just be like just literal celebrity stand-up, but like as if they were having therapy. So they would just have like all these different like 90s comedians in there and like do their stand-up, but like if it was therapy instead.
Actually, was Mitch Hedberg ever on it?
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Because Mitch Hedberg's all over this season of home movies.
Fucking love Mitch Hedberg.
How do you know who? Like, how did you get?
My dad. Like my dad. I was like probably like 14, and my dad was just like, "You want to see my favorite comedian ever?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure." So he just pulls it up on YouTube, and we watched like 2 hours of his
Mitch Hedberg stuff.
I love him, dude.
Yeah, he's all over this season.
And then at the end of those 2 hours, he told me he died.
Yeah, he's I didn't realize this till afterwards. He's the guy who runs the therapy group. The anger management group that McGirt goes to.
That's what I thought that was him, but I couldn't tell for sure. I knew it was some kid.
Yeah.
So because I looked over at Bryce and I was like, "Is that Mitch Hedberg?" And Bryce is always the one who can identify people from their voices, so he was kind of like, "Yes."
Yeah, because the kid's name is Mitch too. So he has
I didn't catch that.
He has like 2 roles in this season. But David Cross is also in the finale because I was watching. I'm like, is that David Cross?
Yeah,
and I listened to the commentary for that episode, and they're like, yeah, it is David Cross. Anyways, so after while Dr. Katz is going on, they also did Science Court, which they actually made us watch in 5th grade, which I never realized until years later.
That's what you were talking about the other day.
Yes, Science Court is like, it's kind of like a Mag School Bus type show where it's literally they argue about like principles of like science in like a courtroom. And also like H. John Benjamin's all over it. Paula Poundstone, who plays Brendan's mom for the first 5 episodes of the series, is in that show.
They change her voice actress?
Yes. Huh. So that's one of the bigger changes they make because so I don't know if they produced these last, because it ran for 5 episodes on UPN and then it was canceled, and then then there was an executive called Khaki Jones at Cartoon Network / Adult Swim who loved it. She was like obsessed with it. I'm pretty sure that her pronouns are she, her. She's obsessed with it, and she wanted to like have it as like an anchor show for like the upcoming. The name for it was Parental Block before they came up with Adult Swim. So she wanted to have that on there, and so she like bought home movies. I don't know when they I don't know when they made those last 8 episodes because it's all considered one season. Like the first 5 and the last 8 are all considered one season
So it's
everywhere
13
you go.
season one?
It's 13 episodes in season 1. But I feel like on the commentary they talk a lot about how it like the turnaround on home movies is very short. It's only like a couple weeks to make an episode, whereas like even like like the average Family Guy or American Dad takes about 9 months to a year to make an episode.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Do
they work on all of them at once?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the average like
I was about to say, I was like, no fucking shot.
yeah, the average like Simpsons, King of the Hill, those shows take about a year to make like a full episode. But apparently in home movies, the turnaround was like only a couple weeks, according to the commentary. But
I mean, I can see it. It didn't. It's not. It's cool because you can tell that it was not as like high budget.
Yeah.
As like a lot of the contemporary animated shows are, but also like it doesn't affect the quality.
Yeah, no. It's very, very improv. The first 5 episodes.
It's funny as fuck.
The first 5 episodes do not have scripts.
At all.
I think they have. I think pretty sure they either figure it out or they have like very rough outlines. So they do not have scripts. And a lot of it is just the actors just kind of like talking to each other and just like messing with each other. And so Brendan's mom for the first 5 episodes is a comedian called Paula Poundstone. And she left after the UPN cancellation because it was just kind of like not her thing. There's also she got arrested for something. There's some history there. I don't know enough about that to talk about it, but I know there's something like that in there. But they replace her with Janine Tutulio, who voices Brendan's mom Paula for the rest of the show for like the other, I don't know, like 47 episodes of home movies. And
that's a decent amount of episodes.
There's 52, and so 52, 47.
Yeah,
so
that's a good amount of episodes.
Yeah, because they did 4 seasons of 13. So she is Paula, even though Paula was named after Paula Poundstone. Janine Tutulio is like the voice of Paula. And something I also did not know about Janine Tutulio until recently was that she wrote on Metalocalypse. It even helped write the Doomstar Requiem.
Oh, that's cool.
Which is crazy.
Wrote music or wrote the script?
I'm assuming the script because she wrote like scripts for like the actual Metalocalypse like show as well, cool. Which is very interesting because like because she is a comedy writer but it is very interesting because like you wouldn't expect that like Brendan's mom, like Paula Small, wrote on like Metalocalypse, which is very funny.
Well, and then Brendan Small's obviously voices Brendan, right?
Yes, Brendan voices himself. It was Brendan Small. He was a stand-up comedian in Boston. He was discovered by Loren Bouchard, who like just kind of liked his energy and brought him into this show. Cool. Because this show, a lot of Adult Swim back then is made at home in Atlanta, but this is one of the shows that was actually made not in Atlanta, not in New York, not in LA. It was actually made in Boston. So, like, this is like
a whole show or just season 1?
Whole show. I'm pretty sure. This is like a Boston native show, which is interesting.
That's cool.
They talk about how when UPN was promoting them, they like had billboards and stuff and like advertisements on like buses, like only in Boston. But
that must have been so cool. Like, being Brendan.
Yeah, because he is our age. He is 23 when he records those first 5 episodes.
No, yeah.
Like he is our age.
Speaking of the improv, I like the improv. The improv, it makes it feel because they stutter all the time, and it makes it feel like it's a home movie. It's cool.
Yes, like, that is. It's a huge thing with this era of Adult Swim, specifically that very long conversational type thing.
Yes, I've noticed.
I
don't mind it though.
Oh no, I love it.
I wouldn't have liked it when I was like a teenager. I don't think.
I've always loved it. Like
I like it now.
It's one of the main things that kind of drew me to Adult Swim was that style of dialogue, and I've always loved it. But there's like an Aqua Teen episode because H. John Benjamin too is like. Apparently, I've heard some people say, like, there was a guy who did, like, an AMA about home movies once, and he said that everyone at William Street was just, like, in love with H. John Benjamin, which I totally understand because he's all over, like, every Adult Swim thing. Like, there's an episode of Aqua Teen, they have, like, a 4-minute deleted scene on the DVD where it's just H. John Benjamin and John Glazer, who's, like, Neon Joe and John from Delocated. Right. They're just playing these alien creatures, just having, like, a 4-minute conversation about how they hate their wives for, like, trying to make them move like their preserved brain collection and stuff like that.
That's actually really funny.
It's so funny.
What did H.John do before this besides the other Comedy Central
just
show?
Dr. Katz. I'm pretty sure Dr. Katz was his first thing.
Huh.
So it's like Dr. Katz, he does this, he does like he's all over early Adult Swim, he guest stars on Space Ghost.
He's I didn't know this until I looked it up, but he's Jason in this as well, right?
Yeah, he's Jason.
I did not know that.
Once you
Once you know what you hear.
Oh yeah, once you place it, you're able to recognize like every H. John voice, and that's gonna be a big recurring thing throughout like this entire miniseries because he does that throughout Lucy, throughout Bob's Burgers.
He's in all of these.
Yeah,
I just realized that.
He's a main character in all these. Throughout Lucy, throughout Bob's Burgers, and even in the Bob's Burgers movie, like backup singers are like just H. John Benjamin.
He's the main character?
In what?
In this?
No, I mean he's a main character.
Okay.
Because he's Jason and McGurk.
I just wanted to make sure I didn't miss something when I was watching.
No, he's Jason. He's Jason and McGurk.
That's true.
Jason, by the way, I never really appreciated him as much, but on this rewatch, I appreciated Jason a lot more. He is so fucking funny.
Yeah, no, he was my favorite kid.
I love Jason. He's so funny.
Kid. He was funny. All three of the kids are fucking hilarious.
Yeah, it's the three of them have such a good dynamic. I think Melissa's voice, because Melissa also does like she does Lucy, Daughter of the Devil, and she does like background characters on Bob's Burgers. She's never had. I think the only character she has on Bob's Burgers is like one of the like school employees, but it's not like a fun one. She doesn't get to do anything fun. I wonder if she just doesn't want to voice act anymore, and she only comes in to do like pickups on like Bob's Burgers and stuff.
It's cool how they're like all friends still.
Yeah.
Presumably.
Yeah.
Like, it's cool how they carry each other over through the show. That's something that I've always liked about Adult Swim. I know other stuff does it too, but like Adult Swim is really good
because
about keeping their like actors in the loop and stuff.
So much of so much of Adult Swim comes from the same pool. Like H. John Benjamin and Brendan Small are all over the Venture Brothers all the time. Like Brendan Small is in the Venture Brothers up until like the final episode and stuff. He plays like a couple like secondary characters. And H. John Benjamin plays like Orpheus has like this like magical like master who's like teaches him everything, and it's H. John Benjamin, and he just yells at him.
Okay, I was about to say, until you said that, I was like, I haven't seen enough to see that, but he's Cerberus, right?
Yeah, he's Cerberus in that one episode, but like one time because he changes appearances. One time he appears as like Orpheus's ex-wife to like mess with his head and stuff. And he's just like he's being like such an asshole too. He's Orpheus's ex-wife, and he's like, these are easily C cups. You could bounce a penis off these, and just like doing shit like that just to torture Orpheus.
I think I've seen. You must have shown me that episode because that's ringing a bell.
I mean, he's all over that show, but and also H. John Benjamin goes on to be Archer, and like Archer is made by like the C Lab and Frisky Dingo guys, and like Dana Snyder obviously is Master Shake, and Dana Snyder's in Venture Brothers, Dana Snyder's in Bob's Burgers. Like it is all one. That's why I say that the Bob's Burgers movie is an Adult Swim movie, because there's so many of those like actors get to come in. But I'm gonna bring that up later on the actual episode.
Yeah, but save that for that. But yeah, you made that point a lot, though. I agree.
So this was a huge bedtime show for me, because I discovered this in high school. Because this used to be, the entire show would be on the Adult Swim app. And the Adult Swim app back then used to do a really cool thing where every day they would have like an alternating marathon. So like Mondays would be Tolerance Mouse, Tuesdays would be Aqua Teen, Wednesdays would be like Your Pretty Face is Going to Hell.
When did they stop doing that? Because I remember that.
I would say probably around maybe like 2017, 2018.
Okay, yeah, because when I was watching Adult Swim like in high school, I would always see that.
Yeah.
And I'd always be like, what the fuck is the show?
Yeah, I'm talking about on the app.
Oh, on the app, okay.
On the app, they did this for like, it would be like all day, like 24 hours on the app. So like 24 hours of like, they just run like all of Aqua Teen. They run 12 Months Mouse on a loop, that kind of stuff. And so I remember it was like, this is back when I was a teenager. I could stay up until like 5 a.m. And
yeah, I can't do that anymore.
Yeah, me neither.
I can probably stay until like 3 or 4 though.
Yeah, like
I do 5.
I could do 5 and then just kind of like be okay the next day.
It's fucking weird.
It's weird.
It's really weird.
But I remember being like 14 or 15, and I was just like, all right, I'm pulling up whatever's on the Adult Swim app, and it was a season 2 episode of Home Movies, and I was like, oh, I fucking love this. And so then I was put off by Squiggle Vision, so I actually watched seasons 2 through 4 first, and then I went back and I watched. After I was already so in love, I went back and I watched the Squiggle Vision ones.
It's not bad enough for me to have done that, I don't think.
Back then you may have.
Fair enough.
Because when you're a dumb like 15-year-old, like it might put you off. But and so I also realized that like, oh wait, this is just Bob's Burgers, and I was obviously like a big fan of Bob's Burgers back then. That was also airing on Adult Swim all the time. But this is like a perfect bedtime show because you can just put this on and it's so relaxing and funny.
Quiet,
yeah, it's
for the most part.
It's very quiet, relaxing, and funny. Like it's all on YouTube too.
Yeah, the voices aren't too dynamic.
Yeah,
they're good.
It's
a good show.
A lot of times I'll put on like the first episode to like fall asleep and stuff just because it's funny. It's funny to just listen to them like Brendan and McGurk like talk and then you just like fall asleep to it. But so I also want to do merch corner here because this show has some interesting merchandise. Pretty much it's only DVDs, but I have the 10th anniversary box set, which is, you know how like the old, like the Family Guy DVDs I gave you where they have like the 3 individual little cases?
Yes.
So all the home movie sets are like that. And for the, were you going to say something?
I was going to say, I realized the other day, you actually gave me 2 part 3s for season 3. I just realized. I was looking through one.
That's all from from an eBay guy.
Yeah, 3 of them are the correct seasons and the correct parts, and then one of them it's like season 4.
Yeah.
And there's like part 1 of season 6, part 1 of season 1, and like part 3 of season 3.
Yeah,
and
classic.
None of season 4.
It's all eBay. But so the home movies box set is just like all 12 of those like tiny little clasp cases.
Where is it?
It's over there.
Oh, it's that one. Okay. I see it.
It's all 12 of those tiny little clasp cases in one box, and it also comes with a literal like clapper board, like a real life clapper board,
That's cool.
and like a tote bag with McGurk on it. That's in my room. It's not in here. With the tote bag with McGurk on it, and it also comes with the home movies soundtrack because
the 10th anniversary. You said?
Yeah, so it was 2009.
How much did that cost you?
So I believe
you don't have to answer that.
No, I believe that was a birthday present.
Oh, that's nice.
So I'm pretty sure back because I got this in 2016. This is when I got into home movies, and like this is back when it was pretty cheap. So it was like $70 on Amazon, if I remember.
Okay, that's not
because
bad.
if you look at it now, it's like $400. It's like it's skyrocketed in value for some reason. But I still have it. It's in like pretty perfect condition. I love it, and I love having the I also have the individual season sets too because I'm just like a fucking weirdo completionist who has like all this shit.
Yeah, they're over there.
Yeah, they're right next to because I feel like if people looked at my DVD shelf, they think I'm fucking insane.
What?
Because it's not organized by any kind of rational thing.
Yeah, it's just where shit goes.
It's organized by what looks right to me. Like there's the 4 seasons of home movies, and then all of Metalocalypse, and then Lucy, Daughter of the Devil. Like, because that makes sense to me. And it's all just like, because a lot of people will do it strictly alphabetical or like by genre or something. For me, it's all just what makes sense.
That's how my retro shelf is. I have like PS2, then Wii, then GameCube, and then I have like my pouches that you put your consoles in, and then Game Boy, DS.
Yeah.
So, you just do it however you want.
So, you watched 9 of the 13 episodes. Like there are 9 that I picked out for you.
I thought we did 8.
We did 9.
Okay.
Because we did the first 5, and then we did Director's Cut, School Nurse, the Marbles one, and the finale. So that's 9.
Okay.
And they're because I had to handpick the last 4, but I went back and I watched the 4 that like you didn't watch, and like I kind of realized that there is not a single bad episode in this whole season. Like there's a scene that we missed, or you missed, where it's like Paula and Brendan are going to get fries, and the whole scene is just Brendan trying to convince her that she should get him his own fries. She's like, you never finish it, and then like the guy over like the McDonald's worker is like, yeah, I should get him his own fries. And Brendan's, see, he knows. Brendan's like, he knows. He's the worker. He knows. You have to give me the fries.
That's funny as fuck.
Yeah, and they get the fries, and then Brendan and Paul's like, how you working on those fries, Brendan? And he's like, too many. There are too many. And it's just like shit, like it's just that's the whole show, and it's so good.
The show, you pretty much said this exact same thing earlier, but the show, it feels like Bob's Burgers without Bob and without the restaurant shit. It feels like just the kids at school fucking around.
It feels like Bob's Burgers without the constraints that make it a real TV show.
Yes, that's a better way of saying what I was saying. Because
what Bob's Burgers is it's like a mixture of this, and they got some
TV show.
No, they got this, and they got the guy who developed King of the Hill to come on and help make Bob's Burgers.
Yeah,
so it's more of a TV show. We'll get into that later. But so I just love every character on the show. I love all their dynamics. A big thing that we don't get enough of this season, they really develop later on, is that McGurk and Melissa have such a funny fucking like repertoire. Like such good banter between the two of them.
That's funny. They didn't do any of that. Really.
Yeah, there's like maybe one scene of it, but like there's so many good scenes where he's just screaming at her, and it's so funny. Like there's an episode where Melissa gets like, in season 3, Melissa gets like, she's forced to go to this like princess like fairy camp thing or whatever, because her father thinks she's not being feminine enough, which they actually kind of deal with gender roles a decent amount in this show, which I think is cool.
That's cool.
But she like hates it. It's like a torture camp, and she sees McGurk at the mall, and she's just like begging McGurk to like buy something so she won't get in trouble, and he's just like screaming at her. But I've always said, because Jimmy Pesto also, unfortunately, another huge Adult Swim guy, he was at the Capitol riots.
We said this every time we talk about it.
Yeah, he did in fucking Stinky, went to the Capitol riots. Yeah. Apparently they're gonna recast him. I heard on Twitter
really?
They're gonna recast him. But I've always said
like Adult Swim is, or someone is,
like Loren Bouchard.
Huh.
It's not Adult Swim show anymore.
Oh right.
Like Loren Bouchard is going to like recast him. Like that's what he said on Twitter. But I've always said they should replace Jimmy Pesto with with like his wife, voiced by Melissa, just so we can have more like H. John and Melissa banter, because that's a huge thing that I think you miss in Bob's Burgers, because she's not any of like she's not like a major character in that show.
You said she's like the school.
She's like a school employee who like says stuff sometimes, but it's all like straight man dialogue. It's not like, she doesn't get to be like funny.
Yeah.
Another huge thing I love about this show is that, another thing that's kind of makes it different from Bob's Burgers, is that everyone in this show is like kind of an asshole in like very subtle ways. It's not like Family Guy where they're like shooting each other.
Yeah.
But they're an
It's not slapstick.
Yeah, but they're like assholes in very subtle ways. They're very petty, especially when the movies are involved. Like
Oh yeah.
Did you see the
Brendan's pretentious as shit.
Yeah, Brendan's pretentious, and Jason.
Awesome.
Yeah, and Jason and Melissa are always fighting. Like there's an episode, I don't know if you saw this one or not, where they let Jason be director, and he immediately tries to like make Melissa quit.
I don't think that we watched that episode, but I think I've seen that episode with you.
And it's just like, it's so funny because he's just like, he's such an evil fucking asshole. Like as soon as Brendan gives him like a modicum of power, he just starts like. Also, I love when they draw Jason with that like sinister face. Like whenever he like narrows his eyebrows, it's so funny because like he does that, and he's like, I don't know, Brendan, I think we need a skinnier actress for this role, and just shit like that. Like he's just like calling Melissa fat.
They used their eyes. They don't have eyebrows. They just had their eyes squish.
Yeah, they had their eyes
Is that
squish.
what you're talking about?
Yes,
Yeah.
But I just love when Jason does that, because like Melissa would do that too. Melissa would just shit on Jason whenever she gets like power or whatever, or she'll try to like push somebody out of the project.
Yeah,
because that's like every episode too, is they just act like that about their movies.
Yeah, they're just assholes.
Yeah, it's so funny. Like I love the exchange in director's cut when Brendan's like, well, you're stupid, and she's like, you're stupid, and they just go back and forth through Brendan. So Jason's like, stop, mommy. Like
it's fun. They're like kids when it's funny, and then they just generally treat them like adults.
Yeah, they talk like adults, which is what makes it funny.
Yeah,
because they're little kids like making like these movies, but they talk to each other like they're a bunch of like petty like actual filmmakers. Yes, like a bunch of petty,
they talk
like
to each other like they're in the industry.
Yeah, they talk to her like they're in. They develop Jason a lot more too, where Jason becomes like super aware of film history. Like there's a really good joke where like Brendan wants to do a romantic comedy, and Jason like flips out, and he's like, the romantic comedy is dead, Nick Nolte and Julia Roberts killed it, and just stuff like that, where he's just like acting like an insane person.
What's the best season of the show?
It might be 2.
Okay.
Unfortunately, his dad is voiced by Louis C.K., which is awful, because fuck Louis C.K. I feel like that comes up a lot in this podcast.
I still don't know what he did. I just know we don't like him.
Yeah, we'll get it. It's not worth getting into on here.
Tell me when I'm 18.
Yeah, I'll tell you when you grow up. I'll tell you when you're older. But I do everything with Brendan's dad in season 2 is so fun, because Brendan gets to meet his dad, who's like a rich like city lawyer, and he has like a wife who's just like a complete like she's super selfish. She like hates Brendan, and she like only wants the attention on her all the time, and it creates a very interesting dynamic. And then like there's also a runner in season 2 where like I think it's like Dwayne's cousin is like, it's like this girl who like Brendan like has a crush on and tries to impress her and stuff like that. There's a lot of really fun stuff in season 2. It might be my favorite. The show also gets progressively wackier as it goes on.
Oh yeah.
Like season 4 is much more cartoony. It's a bit more adult, like they say, like they curse a bit more, and like more cartoony shit happens, which kind of gets away from the reason why they bought the show, because they say in the commentaries that they bought the show because they liked how like down to earth and how realistic it was from like the perspective of a child.
It's fun, yeah. It feels more like watching like an animation on YouTube.
Yes, it's very similar to that. But there's so much in here that I love. Like, I love that Paula is, like, realistically poor. Like, even in this first season, like, a lot of episodes deal with the fact that, like, they have money problems.
Yeah.
And I think that's, like, the genesis.
She's like a single mom.
Yeah, that's, like, the genesis of, like, that's, like, one of the major themes in Bob's Burgers. Like, the Belchers are always poor. And I think that's a really fun way to do that because, like, I mean, The Simpsons have money problems in, like, the first season, but, like, The Simpsons and, like, the Griffins and, like, the Smiths, they're all, like, not rich, but they're, like, middle-class rich.
Right.
They never have, like, money problems. So I do think that kind of...
The Smiths are good. They're chilling.
Yeah, I think that kind of angle makes it really, really fun. And not fun. It makes it adds a lot to the stories and like stories you wouldn't tell.
This is the lower middle class, and then everyone else is the upper middle class.
Yeah,
like they're not like destitute.
Yeah, it's just stories they wouldn't tell on like other shows.
Yeah, no, like American Dad wouldn't tell that story.
But so yeah, there's just so much here that is just like the genesis of like Adult Swim stuff. Like Larry Murphy, who plays Teddy on Bob's Burgers, and he's also in like Delocated, and he's in Venture Brothers and stuff. Larry Murphy.
What's he doing Delocated, or do I? Would I not know?
He's the doorman with the fake mustache.
Okay. That's funny, actually.
He's fucking hilarious. He's like one of the only characters who like lives throughout that entire show, I think.
I fucking love Delocated. Is he the one who gets like injured, like severely?
Yes.
Okay.
He's the one who gets like crippled, and then John like jerks him off or something. We watched that episode.
Yes. Yeah.
Great episode. But Larry Murphy, he's like Drew, the assistant coach that McGurk hates and stuff like that.
Okay.
He like works at the pet shop when they want to get the it might be the cat episode, but he's all over this season. He's all over this show. Apparently Eugene Merman is in this season. I didn't know that, but apparently Eugene Merman's in this show. Eugene Merman is Gene from Bob's Burgers, and he's also
I was waiting.
he's all over Lucy as well. Another thing this show does is there's so much great music in here, but it's not like the Bob's Burgers kind of music. They're very kind of like simple, goofy, like ukulele stuff.
Yeah, and like there's joke songs.
There are joke songs, but there's a lot of like
Bob's like entirely joke songs.
Yeah, but like Brendan Small does like amazing guitar work in this, and you see it. It leads to Metalocalypse.
Does he play Dwayne's guitar?
Yeah.
Okay.
And also in Perfect Hair Forever, there's like one of the openings is it's just like a heavy metal song that Brendan does because
in that show, or did he just do?
He just did that song, and so like he did that song for them because they loved his work on home movies because it's William Street, and then that's what got him Metalocalypse.
Oh, cool.
Speaking of Perfect Hair, I saw a tweet today that said you're not allowed to post about MF Doom unless you've seen Perfect Hair Forever, which I thought was funny, but so yeah, there's just so much here because like even like the Franz Kafka like rock opera, because like that is what leads to like the Doomstar Requiem, which is like the clock opera. It's like the final episode of Metalocalypse. It's like the hour-long rock opera.
Yeah.
Like there's just so much here that like leads to other like huge things in Adult Swim. But yeah, I just love every character. I love Melissa's dad, Eric. What did you think about Eric?
I didn't like him at first, but when we watched that episode where he was trying to sell McGurk the house, that was funny. I ended up liking him. He's
so like funny in such like a nice way, but also I love that he's never he never gets upset. Like he's always lightening the mood, and also whenever he breaks, it's the funniest thing in the world. I was about to say
he laughs a lot,
and it's really funny. There's an episode where like the last minute of it is just like it's like Brendan, Jason, McGurk, and Eric filming like videos for like a dating website, and then like the last line of the episode is just it's Jonathan Katz as Eric just laughing through this line, and he's like, "Look, I'm a good man. I'm not gonna pay you to date me, but I'll give you $15." And like he starts laughing. And like another thing this show does a lot in season 1 that they very much drop off when they move to Flash is that they do a lot of visual jokes in season 1.
Yeah,
like
I can't like recall one,
but like it's just like visually the show is like they do a lot of like zoom ins, like close ups and stuff.
Oh, okay, yes.
And like when Eric is like doing when Eric says that, he's kind of doing like this little motion, which is and stuff like that. And also in the background of the fries scene, there you see a car getting abducted by a UFO and stuff like that.
Oh, that's cool.
Just like weird little things like that. They don't mean anything. It's just like they're having the animators were having fun.
Just doing it.
When the show moves to Flash, they kind of change that a lot where it's definitely a bit more static, a bit more like Adult Swim-y looking. But also, yeah, so kind of things they changed in between the seasons is on the commentary they say that Episode 6, Director's Cut, the first Adult Swim one, is the first one with a full script. However, it is still heavily improv. The script is just there.
Like guidelines?
Yeah, the script they have a full written script, but it's just in case they can't think of anything funny. And so
That's cool.
Yeah, a lot of it is just improv still.
How much is season 2? Is season 2 not very improv at all?
No, I think I think the whole show is is pretty improv.
For whatever reason, I must have confused it with them switching away from Squiggle Vision then, because for whatever reason I thought you said as it goes on they get less improv.
I mean, they do get a little bit less improv-y. They do get a little more, like the episodes get more high concept as they go on, I think. But they're still very, very improv-y, I think. But yeah, I love the commentaries on this because it is just more show. Because it's just Brendan and H. John Benjamin hanging out, and H. John Benjamin is just like calling. He's like, "Oh, you went to Berkeley, you went to music college, you nerd. I'm gonna beat you up after this," and stuff like that. Like,
yeah, I mean, if the whole show's improv, then the commentary's just gonna feel like more of it.
Yeah, the commentary is just more show, and I love that. But the show is, I think that the show, especially when it starts out, is a lot of just like, not nonsense, but is a show just about them talking, but they find what it's really about. And they even say on the commentary, Brendan says in the commentary that, Loren Bouchard disliked our tweet about this podcast.
Oh, cool.
Brendan says in the commentary that Home Movies is about a kid who controls his universe through the movies that because his dad gave him the camera, and he has like a huge, like, because the divorce like really like traumatized Brendan, and so he like controls his world, his reality through these cameras because like he can't control anything else in his life because like he obviously went through huge shakeups with his parents getting divorced and them adopting Josie, which is a very interesting choice, I think.
She's adopted?
She's adopted.
Oh. See, I never knew.
And Loren Bouchard just followed us back. He just followed the podcast.
Thanks, Loren.
But yes, so Josie was, I don't think they outright say it in the show, but they said it in like bonus materials that Josie was adopted. So it's very interesting to me that at some point within the same year, like, I don't know what happened first, but like Brendan's dad leaves Paula and then Paula adopts Josie. And then that's just like and that's like the dynamic they start the show with. It's a very interesting dynamic. Like Josie never really is more than like a plot device. I love Josie too. They do cute stuff with Brendan being like her big brother and stuff like that. But
when he kept being like, I don't know what fucking word he was saying. What word was he trying to get her to say?
Was it marbles?
Yeah, they did this joke twice. It was with two different words where Brendan was like, "Can you say marbles, Josie?" Marbles? Can you say marbles?
And it's like he did it for...
We're gonna need to fucking duck that. I'll fix that.
And he did it for so long too. Like he kept on going, and I just love how realistic it is when like whenever Paula like yells at him.
Oh yeah, no, it's like watching it. I'm actually kind of amazed that adults were able to act like kids so effectively.
Yeah.
Like it's really funny because it feels like you're watching a mom be like, "Yo, chill out."
I also think that Paula Poundstone Paula and Jean DiTullio Paula do feel like different characters to me because Paula Poundstone she's feel like she's known to be a little bit unstable, or at least she was back then, and that comes through in the character. Like, there's a scene in the first 5 episodes when they're talking about the cat pills, and she's telling Brendan, she's like, yeah, you can just slip those pills right in through like a little hole in the back of their teeth, and she's like, and the vet just never noticed how quickly those cat pills disappeared. And then she's like, I'm an adult, I should not be talking to you like this.
I caught that first part. I remember the thing about the cat.
Yeah.
I do not remember that second part.
And then she's like, I should not be talking about this, Brandon. It's so easy to forget that you're not an adult. But like, she just says stuff like that. And also, there's a clothing like guy who makes like t-shirts and stuff that I love called Morning Glory Bootleg. It's like that t-shirt I have with the Night One lineup on the back, and that Space Ghost Planetarium t-shirt. He made a Home Movies t-shirt that I pre-ordered, and part of the design on it is like Paula has like a little cap on, and I kind of realized that Poundstone Paula has the cap on normally, and then like the normal Paula doesn't, which
that's cool.
It's something interesting that I like noticed that, like, I don't know if it was intentional or not, but when but when you think of like the Paula Poundstone, like the original Paula, she has the cap, and like their main one doesn't have the cap, which is kind of a little interesting design choice. Speaking of Morning Glory, they also made a Home Movies soundtrack cassette, which I also ordered because it's just cool.
Nice. Is that coming?
Yeah, those are shipped. Right now the shipping label's been created. It's not in transit yet, but those have shipped. But there's so much good stuff in this show. Like, I think the show also is very hard to like onboard people, because I had to sit you down and I'm just like, all right, we're going to watch this now.
This is one of the shows I've liked this show more than I've liked most of the shows you've shown me. Like, I like almost every show that you show me.
Yeah.
Pretty much except Perfect Hair Forever. I've liked every show that you've shown me. This one's up there. It's good.
Like, I feel like it's just hard to onboard people onto the show. Like, I've had exes who love like Bob's Burgers. I've tried to show them this show and they just like weren't into it. Like, I feel like it's a show that's kind of hard to onboard people with.
It's slower.
It's very slow, because it's like you have to sit there and pay full attention to it, and when you do, it's really, really fucking funny.
You can't go from like Family Guy to this.
Yeah, which is also a thing I think that also came with the transition into like the infancy of Adult Swim into like the early days of Adult Swim, because they get Family Guy in 2003 and Home Movies airs its last episode in like 2004. And so I do think that this is like a kind of, I feel like, I mean, the show has a really good ending. It ends on
they like actually conclude it.
Yeah,
that's cool.
It ends with we can talk about it because no one cares.
Dude.
I mean, like,
no, I don't give a shit.
It ends with like they watch all their old movies and they kind of realize that like they're like, why do we do this? This is weird.
As
and
kids?
Then yeah, as kids, and then the whole episode, McGurk is trying to build like a grill for Paula, and then in the last scene, the grill explodes, and it's McGurk's driving, Paula's next to him, and the kids are in the back seat, and so they're kind of like this weird little family now.
Yeah.
And they're driving to go, and McGurk's, all right, what do you guys want to do for dinner? And they're just arguing about dinner, and Brendan's like filming out the window, and they hit a bump, and he drops the camera, and it gets run over by a car, and then like he's gonna be upset about it, and he gets sucked into the conversation about dinner and starts like talking about it, and they have this amazing song called Brendan's Camera that I'll play for you after this. I might use it to close out this episode because it's such a good song.
Yeah.
And they kind of play that as like you see like the camera's last bit of film kind of like die out and stuff. That's the end of it's such a beautiful ending to the show.
That's actually really cool.
Yeah, but it had a very good ending, and I think had a very good run. 4 seasons, 52 episodes. It's a great run.
Yeah, especially for, like a show like this.
Yeah, but I think that I do think that they're kind of moving away from this sort of stuff when they're really focusing on like the Family Guy stuff, and it does take a while for them to circle back to this with like Bob's Burgers, because when Brendan does his second show, Lucy, Daughter of the Devil, that's a lot more like horror and gory and like shocking.
That
like
show's awesome.
Yeah, like a lot of Adult Swim was at the time, and also Bob's Burgers is that because it started off as their actual cannibals is the pilot for that show.
Yeah.
But more Bob's Burgers connections, because this is kind of about how Bob's Burgers is kind of like what everything that Loren's done. we don't get that many scenes of them in this show, but Walter and Perry are in this show, and Walter and Perry are just they're like the gay version of Andy and Ollie from Bob's Burgers. You know Andy and Ollie, and like Walter and Perry are that, but it's just Brendan and H. John doing like a very high pitched voice, and they're just talking about how they're in love with each other all the time, and so it's very similar to Andy and Ollie, but like tweaked slightly. So instead of like being brothers, they're just like gay.
That's funny.
But it's cute, and I like, and also something I love about Walter and Perry is that they're also malicious as fuck sometimes too, because like they'll just be straight up evil sometimes.
I don't think I got much of them. We saw
one scene. There's one Walter and Perry scene. But they introduced a lot of recurring characters in season 2, like Brendan's dad, Walter and Perry. There's a character they introduced called Fenton Muley, who, you know Hugo, the health inspector from Bob's Burgers?
Yes.
He is voiced by that guy, Sam Cedar, who's also a political commentator.
Cool.
So he's voiced by that guy, and he's just like the most horrible little brat. And one of the episodes that really sold me on home movies is like him. It's like Brendan has to make a video for him for his birthday, because it's like Brendan's mom makes him, and so it's Fenton's birthday. He's being a fucking little shithead the whole time, and then McGurk shows up, and like it's honestly, I feel like it's a great episode for the ending, but it's also a little bit hard to watch just because the entire episode is this annoying little shithead being an annoying little shithead. But the end of the episode is McGurk just gets pissed off. He's like, Fenton, shut up! Shut up! And just like McGurk just like screams at this kid, and then he just gets quiet and like leaves, and like McGurk like gets his mom's number and stuff like that. And then it's just like McGurk putting this kid in his place is such a satisfying scene. And then the last scene is just Brendan, Melissa, and Jason walking into the sunset while this amazing like guitar like riff plays. It's so good.
McGurk's funny because he's basically like, I don't know if he's divorced in canon, but like he's like a textbook like turn of the century divorcee.
Yeah.
Like he's just like
McGurk never had a wife.
And he's almost like Carl. He's like a non-caricature version of Carl.
Yes.
From Aqua Teen.
Yes. I feel like the thing that's different between McGurk and Carl is that Carl was a lot more disgusting.
Yeah, he's more of a caricature of the archetype.
Yeah, and Carl is also a lot more evil, whereas McGurk is more kind of like an asshole. McGurk like genuinely does love Brendan and Melissa, and like we don't get a lot of McGurk and Jason because they're voiced by the same actor. Because when I was younger, I used to wonder like why is Jason not at soccer practice with them, but the reason is because they want him. He can't riff with himself.
You don't want the voices next to each
other. He can't riff with himself, so they don't really get that many scenes. They get more scenes together later, but like it is mostly kind of separated. But McGurk does genuinely. I feel like the arc of the show too is McGurk kind of like weirdly filling in that role that Brendan and Paul are both missing from their life.
Yeah.
Because the end of the show is kind of like, oh, they're like a little family now.
Well, the characters in the show, minus the kids, of course, but like the adults in the show, they're all like realistic people.
Yeah.
Like Paula's just a mom. She's just a single mom. McGurk's just like a guy.
Yeah. Also another Bob's Burgers character is Mr. Lynch. From the show, he's the teacher, the blonde teacher with a little mustache.
Okay.
He is
the blonde teacher in this show. Okay.
Yes, he is. He is Ron, the health inspector, the other health inspector.
Gotcha.
And which is why that first season of Bob's Burgers really feels like home movies. We'll get into that, but so like it's disgusting. But so like I'm thinking about like there's a lot of Loren Bouchard actors from this show and the other show. They're on Adventure Time a lot because the guy's name is Ron in Bob's Burgers and Mr. Lynch in this show, and his real name is Ron Lynch. And he voices Mr. Pig on Adventure Time. And
I don't think I ever.
You may have not seen.
I don't think I ever saw that one.
He like gets married to Tree Trunks and stuff.
Okay, I know Tree Trunks. I love Tree Trunks.
I'm pretty sure like all the Bob's Burgers kids are they're Jake's kids in Adventure Time.
You remember how I said I was going to watch Adventure Time?
Yeah,
I watched 2 episodes.
Yeah, of course. You don't have the stamina.
I texted him and our friend Grayson because they both love Adventure Time, and I was like, "Hey, I'm starting Adventure Time," and Bryce was just like, "Yeah, no, you're not."
Yeah, because
he was just like, "You're not gonna watch it." He was like, "You'll get bored."
No, I'm not even saying that. I'm just saying I don't think you have the stamina because I almost
did 10 seasons, right?
Okay, but it's not even just that. There's just so many episodes, and so many of them are like kind of nonsense and like not in a good way. Like I mean, this might be sacrilege to some people, but I do think there's a lot of Adventure Time that is just like bullshit that's kind of boring.
It's like if you watch Bleach with all the filler in it.
Yeah, but like Adventure Time, there's so much of it, and like me, because I watched that show during spring of 2020, so me during peak quarantine, I had trouble like finishing it. Like it's
See, I was gonna watch it when I had a surgery earlier this year, and I was gonna be like not working for a month, so I was like,
just watch the fucking Venture Brothers.
I watched 2 episodes. I don't even know if I watched 2. I may have just watched the first one
of Adventure Time.
I may have just watched the pilot.
Just watch the Venture Brothers. We can do it on this show.
After Bleach, I will.
After Bleach, after Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones is over.
Okay, watch the Venture Brothers then.
After Bleach.
No, that was the deal.
We're fighting. I'm sorry.
I have someone else who might be in the wings to do the Venture Brothers episodes with me.
I'll watch them then.
But so
it's abusive.
I know I'm just gaslighting you. I'm just gaslighting you on this episode.
Do it. I guess I'll have to go.
Fucking. Let's see what else is in my notes here. Oh yes.
I'll do it with you because like, I'll just let you talk.
Yeah.
And I'll chime in. I'll be like, that's like Batman.
Yes. Oh, that's like Fantastic Four. One of my notes says that Jason in the first 5 episodes is just Chris Griffin, which I think is kind of funny.
Yes. When he like is fucking like snotting all over his hands.
Yeah, and shit like that. That was like a huge thing with this show and also with Mission Hill is that like not like networks in the early 2000s or late 90s did not know how to market these shows because like that scene was like the main scene in the commercials for home movies. And it's like it's people just wouldn't get it. It's I don't think this show could ever survive because UPN was like an ABC type network back then. It was not a cable network.
Yeah.
I don't think it could have survived back then.
Back then or nowadays?
I mean, I don't think it could have survived on network TV back then. It could only survive on Adult Swim on cable because Adult Swim was taking risks on stuff like this. Let's see if there's anything. There's a great line in this season where McGurk is talking about. He's like, yeah, Darwin says you always want to date your mothers. He confused Freud with Darwin.
He's fucking shit faced on a date.
I think
he's like ranting to this woman.
Yeah, I think it's so funny that they said Darwin instead of Freud, but like they don't call attention to it.
Yeah, they don't.
He says it with such confidence that I've seen that episode like a million times and I only caught it this time. Like, wait, he said fucking Darwin. Like, but yeah. So I also love the end of the commentary in the last episode is like, H. John Benjamin just starts going like, a worm will turn, and then he's just like, I don't know what the context. He's like, a worm will turn. And like the last thing before it cuts off is Brendan going, I've had a lot of expressions hanging out with you guys. Are we still rolling? And then it just cuts off.
That's fun.
The commentaries are so fun. I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna listen to the ones that I didn't listen to for this episode. But yeah, I think honestly, this could just be like a show we start watching when we hang out.
I was about to say, I was gonna ask if I could take home season 2 tonight.
Like the DVD?
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Bet. I was going to ask you that when we got off.
Yeah, because this is such a fun show, and I think a lot of the elements people remember it for get introduced in like season 2 and stuff.
Okay, yeah,
because
what? That'll be like a 6-hour watch?
Yeah, it's about 6 hours for a full season of home movies.
I might do it tonight.
Yeah,
I'll do it tonight and tomorrow.
It's fun. It's really fun. I think
I was going to say, sorry to interrupt you.
You're
good. We can circle back in a few months and do seasons 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, that's why I'm only labeling this as season 1 and we're only discussing season 1 because this is such a good show that I don't want to do all of home movies in one episode.
I really like this.
I
think I could get really into it.
Which is also why so after this we're going to do Lucy, Daughter of the Devil, which we
watched in college. That was one of the first shows we watched after The Simpsons.
We came back because we watched The Simpsons and then we came back from that from the winter break and then I got the Lucy DVD over the winter break and so we watched it then because I brought it back. Yes, because I stupidly thought that the Bob's Burgers movie was still coming out and I wanted to rewatch a lot of stuff like old.
It did come out.
Oh, I thought it was coming out in like 2021, not 2022.
Yeah.
Because that was back when the release date was still April 2021. We'll cover that a lot in the Bob's Burgers movie episode.
Yeah, a lot of shit got fucked up.
But yeah, a lot of shit got fucked up by COVID. But I'm glad it came out when it did. But So we're gonna do Lucy, Daughter of the Devil, the whole show, because it's only 10 episodes. It'll take like 2 hours to watch, so that's one episode we're gonna do.
Watched it all in a night, right?
Yeah, it's one of those Adult Swim shows that's only like a one night watch. And then we're going to do season 1 of Bob's Burgers. And I'm also that's going to be a lot of it is going to be me talking about like my memories with that show on Adult Swim. Like I'm going to be talking about a lot of the early promos. Like the promo art for that episode is like they used to do these amazing puppet commercials. I'm talking about those a lot.
Yeah.
And then the finale of this miniseries is going to be it is going to be the Bob's Burgers movie, which I'm gonna get it recorded earlier, but I'm gonna release that episode on the 1 year release date on May 27th.
Nice.
And
no, that's a Tuesday, right?
That's going to be like a Friday. And then after that, I may be doing Metalocalypse. I might have a guest lined up for the first season of Metalocalypse. And then
I'm the movie, right? Or not the movie, the Doomstar.
Yeah, we'll talk about Metalocalypse stuff because there's gonna be I don't know where we're going after this. I don't know if I want to do another miniseries after the Loren one, but the miniseries right now is as far as I'm looking ahead.
We will consult the spreadsheet.
Yeah, we'll
figure it out.
We'll consult the non-existent spreadsheet.
I'll make it. I promise.
But all right. So you have anything else?
No, I was just gonna say I think I'll probably sit out the Bob's Burgers show episode.
Okay.
Just because I don't watch that show very much.
Okay.
But I saw the movie with you like twice or 3 times, I think.
Yeah.
So I'll definitely do the movie with you.
We get Hunter on the Bob's Burgers
episode.
I
was about to say you get Hunter. But I'll be here for Lucy. I'll be here for the Bob's movie.
Okay, cool. All right, so you can follow us on Twitter at OwlsOnlyPod. Loren Bouchard just followed us, so you can follow us too. You can follow me on Instagram at adult_swim_merch_archive, where I post like everything that I talk about in here, my merch segments, and I post like, all this kind of cool shit. So if you like Adult Swim, follow that Instagram account, follow our Twitter, and yeah, you got anything else to plug?
Nope, but just make sure you follow our Twitter because that's where we post all of our updates for our content. We also post our plans for our stuff usually.
Yeah, like that's what Loren like. You like to tweet about like the plans for the month.
Yep.
All right, so that's it. See you guys next week.
See ya.